Bryan.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, both of you.
And our audio was off by accident. As I stated, we've got John over here. We've got Bryan over here, a.k.a. Crowd. I do that almost every time. Forget to pop the audio back on. But what is going on, everybody?
We need a new
Episode
engineer.
8 of the Weebo and Director Show. How are you guys?
Doing well. Just enjoying some hot Cheetos here. Welcoming Bryan, our guest for tonight. He seems to be very green today.
Oh, I'm so green. I tried to make it purple, but it wouldn't take.
He's our resident thespian.
Thanks for having me, John and Jim. Appreciate being here. It's
Anytime.
looking forward to talking about some stuff, man.
I mean, we can
Video
always
games.
take that green away.
Hey, there you go. Oh yeah. That wood color is much more better for my skin tone.
So as I always like to start out here, I'm going to start with Bryan here. What have you been playing this week?
Oh man, well, I gotta say Rocket League's my mainstay. Rocket League is one of my favorite games of all time, so I've been playing a lot of Rocket League. Of course, as everybody else is on Twitch right now, playing a lot of Valorant, lots of Valorant with these two guys here, getting our games in, trying to break out of iron. A lot of trying, not a lot of success yet.
I made bronze.
a lot of this going on after every game.
Right.
Yeah, those are the two games I've been really playing a lot this last week. So,
John, you been playing anything different?
So I hit up Sekiro. Shadows Die Twice, and that's just mainly after our last talk with Ghost of Tsushima. Had to do something different, but man, it's been frustrating as hell, dying over and over and over and over again. I'm like, all right, and I got a counter on mine. So if any of you've watched my stream, I have a counter on it that tells me how many times I've died. I'm barely into the outskirts of Ashina and then the Sunken Valley, and I've died like 40, 50 times already. So it's a very fun game though. And then of course last night we did have an extremely entertaining night playing golf with friends, and it was this group of friends right here.
Yep.
That was great. We went through every map plus somebody's strange demon style gingerbread portal.
Man.
Yeah.
And the lava.
Which that person needs to fix it, because you could be on one course and
I think that was the
sink
point.
it in another course and win. So you could get a hole in one and not even go in the hole you're supposed to go into.
Honestly, I think that was the point, to be completely honest.
Yeah, but they didn't have jumping. If they had jumping allowed, then we would have had a better time with trick shots and making hole in ones in other parts of the course.
Right.
The best part of the map was definitely the little mountain of lava. You got Mordor there. Freaking felt like I was, going falling into the pit of lava at the end of the movie every time I missed a shot off the edge of the map. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah,
that was cool.
As far as me, I've just been playing the same stuff these guys have been playing. Golf with friends, Valorant. If you guys catched my stream earlier today, me and my daughter played Uno, Super Mario, and Golf with Friends.
Nice.
Because what's cool is you can do offline multiplayer, so the two of us played together with Golf with Friends.
Oh, that's cool.
She didn't figure out the whole don't hit it too hard thing, though. And then when I say don't hit it too hard, then she's hitting it like super soft. And
did you not point out there's a gauge, like a little color gauge at the bottom?
She's only 7, and she's not that good with the mouse.
Oh, okay.
I still have to position it and turn it for her, because she's turning it and her hand's like twisted all like this, trying to turn the mouse around. Because she can point and click regular stuff, but when it comes to that, she doesn't know how to because they don't use when they use a computer, they use the laptop with the trackpad doing like school stuff. They don't play games on the computer.
Yeah,
it's usually
or the touchscreen, the all-in-one touchscreen.
Because when they play games, it's on the Switch or the PlayStation or the Xbox. They got a controller.
Yeah, because I had to teach my daughter how to use the mouse, so she's got it. Because when we were doing school from home, it was all that way.
They can do all that kind of stuff. Like she can run everything she needs on a Zoom class by herself. I don't need to do anything there.
Nice.
So, but with that, go for it.
Oh, sorry. What Mario game were you guys playing?
Just Super Mario World. Because what is cool, I don't know if you know, if you are at least at the affiliate level of Twitch, you can set up what is called crowd control. and there are a bunch of old emulation games that you can set up with this crowd control app through Twitch, and people can donate bits to affect your game, either in a good or a bad way. Like with Mario, they can send you Yoshis, they can send you extra enemies, they can send you the flower power, they can send you
What? Really?
Yeah. You set up how many bits each different thing that they can affect your game with is, and then they donate the 10 bits or 20 bits, whatever you set, and then they can. We didn't have that turned on today, but that's why I had Super Mario quickly accessible to get up on the stream. But yeah, super cool app that you can link to your Twitch, called Crowd Control, and it's got
That's awesome.
40 something. 30, 40 games that it works with, like a bunch of the Mega Man games, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, like a bunch of different games.
I've personally been thinking about going back and playing like old Nintendo, Super Mario games on an emulator or something on Twitch. So that's awesome. That's so cool to hear that that's out there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I could pull it up in 2 seconds to tell you just some of the games on it. It's
like doing a game plus mode of these old school games.
Right, and like I said, people can either help or hinder your game. I mean, some of the games is from SNES, Super Kirby, Kirby Superstar, Mega Man X, SimCity, Super Mario World 2, A Link to the Past. There's the original Castlevania, Mega Man 1, 2, and 3, Toe Jam and Earl on the Genesis, Super Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, Super Mario Bros. 3, Pokemon Red and Blue, Dark Souls 3, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and then Minecraft as well works with it, and the new Toe Jam and Earl that just came out, Back in the Groove.
That's a good list.
Pretty interesting. It's a good way to make a little extra bits off your Twitch.
Can you say the name of the site or the app?
It's just Crowd Control. Yeah. It's called Crowd Control. Let me see if I can. Crowd Control on Twitch. The website is crowdcontrol.live.
Got it.
And it literally took me like not even 5 minutes to set it up. But with that, we've got...
Definitely check that out.
Yeah. But with that, we got a number of topics to talk about tonight. The release date for Valorant was given. Take-Two Interactive says they're going to release 93 games in the next 5 years. And there's a new Call of Duty Black Ops coming, possibly set in the Cold War. And that's where we're going to start with. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. What I'm going to read here is from Joe Screbbles of IGN. He writes, new reports suggest this year's Call of Duty will be titled Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War and will return to the Black Ops sub-series historical setting. The title was posted by Call of Duty leaker Okami on Twitter and backed up by sources from Eurogamer, who also confirmed this news. Eurogamer added that it will return the series' roots, but didn't specify any specific events or locations. The real-world Cold War is regarded as having lasted from 1947 all the way to 1991. So that's a big gap that they can really work with.
I mean, that can go with the First Indonesia War, which started right during like the World War II, right at the end of the World War II setting. Could have thrown itself right into the Korean War, which was around like 1948 through 53. Then you can go and cover the Vietnam War, which that was 20 years. That's 55 to 75. And then you can even do, go back to like the non-war specific like conflicts, but conflicts like the Cuban Missile Crisis, and deal with stuff again like we were talking about Nuketown.
Right.
I would not be surprised to have Nuketown in this as a multiplayer map when they bring it back, just because it fits so perfectly during the 1960s portion. Now, are they going to go stick directly with the Cold War, or are they going to do like Black Ops 2 did, where they were going back and forth like a Cold War era and future type of thing? Because Black Ops 3 went to 2065, but Black Ops 2 did 80s, so the end, like towards the end of the Cold War, and then they went to 2025, which we're like 4 years off of, or 5 years off of now.
I mean, Activision hasn't said anything to confirm any of this, but Eurogamer basically has it confirmed that that's the title, but no other information is known yet. People are saying that those bunkers that have opened up in Warzone give them Cold War feels, as far as like Cold War bunkers, and those bunkers aren't fully open because there's another level to those bunkers that are not unlocked yet.
That's true. There's those little keypads that you like walk up next to.
You got to find the red key card now to open them.
Oh yeah, you can
is
finally
that been out
unlock
now?
them.
But when you get in,
there's,
so if you haven't seen this, in Call of Duty Warzone, there are, 10 or 11 bunkers around the map. And before
12.
they had a little keypad, and you can click it, and it does nothing. Well, with the last 30 fucking gigabyte update that they did, they opened up the bunkers when you find a red key card. And you walk in, and you like go down these stairs, turn to the right, and there's just crates of loot. There's like 1, 2, 3. There's like 7, 8 crates. You just open them up, and they're like orange crates and blue crates. It's got everything you'll want. But then you keep walking, and you find another door that's similar to the first bunker door. You go to touch the keypad, and it does nothing, as if you need another key code or key card. But none of the key cards work on these secondary doors yet. Also, the other thing that people have linked Warzone to the Cold War is there are telephones you can find throughout the Warzone map that when you actually answer the phone, they're speaking in Russian.
Yeah, but so what if they're speaking in Russian?
I know. It's just people are trying to link that to Cold War and saying, they've been teasing
conflict
this
with Russia.
Right.
So, but does Warzone, the map for Warzone, look old enough? I would say yes. It doesn't look as modern. Like the buildings, everything else doesn't look like a massive upgrade when you walk into the homes.
It doesn't look. It looks like it's non-era specific, so it can fit within anything.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, besides the airport and the technology that we see that's left out in front of us, and we can assume from where these pieces of technology, what time zone they came from. What were you guys trying to get at? That they're trying to like somehow turn World of Warzone into the new battle royale? Or
what people are thinking is, even though Warzone is embedded in Modern Warfare, it's going to eventually be connected to every new edition of Call of Duty somehow.
Oh.
I mean, it's free. Because it's free, it should be allowed in every installation.
But here's my question with that. Because it's embedded in Modern Warfare, should they eventually release a Warzone-only client?
So I've been saying they should.
I mean, because when you go to Warzone on your PS4, it says the download is only like 24 gigs. But then when you click download, it does the whole 120-something gig download with Warzone. So
I think the reason for that is A, they want you to buy the full game, and B, all your weapons and stuff, all your unlocks cross over into the main game modes. So in order to do that, unless they tie it specifically to your Activision account or Battle.net, they have to do it that way. I think they should tie it as like a save to your Battle.net account so that it can transfer over through all the other ones.
And that's what I was trying to get at, as far as if it was its own client, would it be easier to add, Black Ops guns and weapons and everything to it than it being embedded in Modern Warfare?
Yeah, it'd be easier to add guns and everything to it.
So you're basically saying that there will not be, like, the idea, the pretense behind this conversation is that there won't be a battle royale for the Cold War, that Warzone would somehow absorb the new Call of Duty battle royale, and it would change into that? Am I getting that right?
Yes and no.
I mean, think about adding a new map. You can add new maps and new assets, and that new map could be Cold War based.
Right.
You know, it could be battle royale in, Vietnam. It could be battle royale. I mean, this one we already know this is like a Russian location, the one we are on, just because it fits that. and I'm pretty sure there's confirmation of that, but
Yeah,
we
they
can
said it is
have it
Russia.
take place just about any of the locations during the entire Cold War era, depending on what the game decide, where they go with the game direction when it comes out. Is it going to be Korea and Vietnam? Is it going to be Indonesia? Is it going to be somewhere like the Congo crisis? Whatever is going to fall onto that, it could be any of those locations for the Warzone Battle Royale maps.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting.
That's why I was trying to get at, would it be easier to integrate all the different games if it was its own game and not embedded in Modern Warfare?
I would much prefer that it was all embedded. I would like to have one single place where I can go. I think having a new Call of Duty every 2 years, or how frequently do Call of Duty
Every year
games now?
It's
every year.
It's every year.
That's too many. That's too many.
And they've been recently they've been rotating between a regular Call of Duty and a Black Ops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just see this too much. It's oversaturating the market. Like I didn't play Call of Duty for almost like 12 years, almost for that exact reason, because there's just so many coming out one after another. And if they do that with Warzone and Battle Royale, I feel like everyone's gonna get a sour taste in their mouth with multiple Battle Royales and separate clients for everything.
Yep. Before this last Call of Duty I had bought and played actively was Advanced Warfare.
Yep.
And I love that. We were Diamond on PS4. Last game I was actually good at. But and that's why I was all cookie cutter. Everything's the same. Online maps feel the same. Yeah, you bring in some of the classics, but you don't really output too much on new maps either. But Warzone added a whole new taste to the Call of Duty franchise, a whole new feel, and then they added a different game mode that has a battle royale feel, but is a whole different concept, which was their plunder mode, and I think they call it Blood Money now.
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah. So,
I mean, like I said, there's not much information other than the name has all but been confirmed and put out there. So we'll see what exactly happens here. If it gets linked to Warzone, if it doesn't, if it gets its own maybe Warzone-esque type thing, which I don't see them putting out another version of Warzone for free linked to every edition of Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Because that would just be weird.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, like for me, crazy. I would like to have maybe Vietnam, like, so I don't know if you guys have played PUBG and know like the map Sanhok, which is the smaller map they came out with that is Southeast Asia jungle type of map. It's it was really awesome. It's one of my favorite maps to play. I think it was Thailand or Philippines is where it's located. So that would be something that I would like to see is maps like that for the battle royale. Change it up from the full urban landscape that you see while there are mountains and all the different kinds of areas, like the small towns, the farmland. Maybe doing a larger rural area would fit as well. I mean, oh man, I don't know, but PUBG did it. A few of the other battle royales have done it too. Ring of Elysium, there we go. Larger map, more rural, smaller, more isolated and dense towns. Versus, I feel Warzone maps have a lot more urban to it, which is fine.
No, I totally agree. I agree. The first probably like 10, 20 matches on Warzone, I felt lost every match. I thought it looked everywhere place I went almost felt like the exact same spot I had been on the previous map. And so it was kind of disorienting. And I agree that like in Fortnite and other battle royales, I feel like some of the sites are more distinguishable from others. Like there's certain sites that are like, this is what happens here. It's a metropolis. There's lots of big buildings in this. And over here, it's a different, you got waterways. And so yeah, I would like to see them kind of add some new elements to the Warzone field as well to make it a little bit more diverse.
So with that, moving on, I do want to let everybody know that we had talked previously that Grand Theft Auto 5 was free on the Epic Store. No longer free if you didn't add it to your library, your SOL. But they announced the next game which is Civilization 6, which is free for the next week. And if they keep going with this trend of, which basically this was all leaked out, we know the next game is to be the Borderlands Handsome Collection, which will be the next one revealed in a week. And then I think after that it's supposed to be Ark Survival Evolution. And the interesting thing here is these are all 2K games. These are all games published and distributed by 2K. So Epic seems to have, I guess you could say, worked out some deal with 2K to put out some free big title games on their store, which leads me to our next topic. 2K and Take-Two Interactive plans to release 93 titles in the next 5 years throughout all their different studios.
Yeah, of which 63 are core core games, and I think it drops down to like another 20 or so are mid-tiered, and then the rest are going to be their casual games. Right, and 43 of those cores are going to be extensions or sequels to existing franchises, which means that one of them is your newest Grand Theft Auto that we all have been talking about.
So I have this here from Rebecca Valentine of GameIndustry.biz, where she wrote, this was back on, I don't have a date, on the 20th. So this was yesterday. She wrote, during today's Q4 fiscal 2020 financial results, Take-Two president Carl Slatoff said that it's expected to release a total of 93 new titles in the next 5 years across both internal labels and outside development studio partners. Breaking it down, Slatoff said that 63 of the titles would be core experiences, including 15 platform extensions of existing titles, 17 would be mid-core titles, and 13 would be considered casual games. Additionally, 47 would come from existing franchises, and 46 would be brand new IPs. 72 are planned for some combination of console, PC, and streaming, and 7 of these also are going to be mobile games, with 21 specifically mobile only. 67 of the titles would be paid games, and 26 would be free-to-play games. Slatoff stated that it would be possible that this projection was reflective of its current pipeline, and that it was possible that some games would be delayed or canceled, while new games could also be added in the coming months or years. Finally, Statlander clarified that these would be full game releases, and these numbers did not account for any add-ons or additional DLC to current released games.
So now that we've broken that down, what are some major franchises that you think or want to see extended for sure?
Well, the ones we know exactly we already know that we're getting next month 2K PGA Tour, 2K21 or whatever. Next year we're going to get another WWE game. We're going to get another basketball game every year. We know that. 2K's apparently got a license to make an NFL game now, I guess, is what I've heard. So they've got like almost every sport now. Other games looking here. Of course, they got all the Sid Meier games. Of course, we know that they're starting some sort of development on a new Grand Theft Auto. I know Google Stadia has an exclusive launch window of Serious Sam 4 coming up. And that's also 2K. And then, I mean, there's just so much other games that you can get from 2K that I can't even think of right now. Like, what are some 2K franchises you guys are excited to see more of?
Borderlands.
Borderlands. Which Borderlands 3 just came out last year, so that can be a while out. But they did say within the next 5 years.
I mean, so 2K specifically, they just did the new Mafia remake as well. So Mafia 1 and 2, the definitive edition of that, which is a full remade ground up, which I can't wait. That doesn't come out though till August.
No. It's Mafia 1, 2, and 3. Mafia 2 and 3 are supposed to come out next month, with 1 fully remastered in August.
See, it's funny because Steam was giving me a different, because I was looking at it today.
Here, let me look it up.
Steam was giving me, because it was actually on their headline for
Gotcha.
Definitive edition, August 28th, 2020.
This says.
And
This is
Mafia 2 Definitive Edition, May 19th.
Yeah.
And Mafia 3, May 19th. So
Yeah,
for
so they're out
some
now, not
reason,
next month.
the original Mafia is giving an August 28th.
Because the other two are remasters, but Mafia 1, I believe, is a full remake, not a remaster.
Yeah, that's what Mafia 1's is saying. It's a remade from the ground up, and it's actual about this game on there. It's a full ground up, and the visuals look stunning.
Which is
they
weird.
Look like they surpassed Mafia 3's.
Which I think is weird. Why not just wait and release them all at once? Because who's gonna go get 2 and 3 now and play them before playing 1?
You can technically get 3 and play it now because the lead character from 1 and 2 isn't as huge or big in 3. You play as a completely different main protagonist, like a different protagonist in that one. 1 and 2, on the other hand, does follow the same person from when he gets back from World War II or World War One, whatever. I can't remember the era on it. Prohibition. So yeah, 1 all the way through and up. So that's something that's exciting. What is another one? There was another one I was looking at here.
I know.
So
2K.
if we're talking Rockstar being under that franchise,
Yes.
I would love to see another Max Payne.
Ooh, I didn't think about that. And we know we'll probably get a Red Dead 3.
Max Payne 3 washout, down in Brazil and getting, having to get back into the game and kill some people. So take the painkillers.
I never played a lot of Max Payne.
Oh man, the stories to Max Payne were great, and it was all about the like slow-mo aim, and then how do you heal? You drug up on some painkillers.
Wow. I haven't played Max Payne in a long time.
Right there.
I mean, just looking through, I've got the Wikipedia up of all the 2K games. Some of the games that we haven't seen in a while: XCOM, BioShock.
So BioShock would be another great one, but if they were to do another BioShock, where do you think they would go? We've seen an underwater haven. We've seen a floating city. I mean, what's next?
Exactly.
I mean, do we go back to the underwater haven? Do we go back up to Infinite? So, being that we had a sequel to the underwater haven, we have BioShock 1 and then BioShock 2, why not do another one up in the sky? That was actually pretty fun and enjoyable. I mean, that's an option. Then XCOM's popular. People do like XCOM, so I feel that they would do another one of those.
They tried their Duke Nukem Forever, 8-9 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't know who owns licensing for Duke Nukem anymore. Didn't a new one just come out recently?
Doom Eternal? No.
Doom Eternal, yeah.
No, that's not the same thing, is it?
I don't know.
I wasn't thinking right.
Duke Nukem's completely different.
You said Duke Nukem. I wasn't thinking right.
I thought there was
Duke Nukem came out in 2011.
Yeah.
That was the Duke Nukem Forever, that one. And that was the last one since.
Duke Nukem is Sega.
A game I wouldn't mind seeing that's old. This is an old game. We're talking 2012 as well, is The Darkness. So I remember the original Darkness, and the gameplay for that was pretty fun at the time. When did that come out? That was
The
Darkness came out in 2007.
Answer your question about Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem, the last studio, I believe, if I'm reading this right, to make a Duke Nukem game was Gearbox, who does Borderlands, which is owned by 2K. So maybe now that they've finished Borderlands 3, they can move into a new Duke Nukem.
Yeah, maybe a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I definitely want to see The Darkness. That was a great first person shooter with some demonic powers that you get. It kind of reminds me of oh shit, what's that? Second Son.
Infamous.
Infamous. It kind of reminds me of Infamous a bit, like pre-Infamous days.
Right. And then let's see. I'm just looking through the list here of other 2K games. They've got their free-to-play Battleborn. Maybe they do another one of those. But that's already a games of service that they don't need to put out a number 2 of. Just looking here. There's not much more by way of like current IPs.
I think a lot of it's going to be the sports games, though.
Well, yeah, you're gonna get at least 3 sports games we know of every year: NBA, WWE, and starting this year, golf. Again, there is a rumor that they got a license to do an NFL game. I don't know when that's supposed to release. So that would be a 4th.
How many years did they say?
For
5 in the next 5?
93 titles in the next 5. And
so right there, out of the 43 main titles, franchises, you're getting 15
to 20.
Yeah,
they do the NFL game.
That's half of it. And then if we throw in GTA 6, you're getting let's estimate with an NFL one. Now you're getting 21, and then if you say a BioShock 22, I mean, they might be remaking a ton. I'm pretty sure they're going to do another XCOM because that was really popular.
Yeah, because I don't think we get another Red Dead in the next 5 years, because what I had heard is that Rockstar wanted to finish Red Dead, work on the next GTA game, and then when that was done and out for a year and they're done servicing that game, then move on to the next Red Dead. That's kind of their pipeline of ideas at Rockstar right now. So I don't think a Red Dead Redemption 3 would fit in 5-year window.
Yeah. No, it's a possibility, but not sure.
And as of March 10th, it was reported that 2K had signed a multi-year partnership with the NFL to create multiple future video games.
So was the NFL not happy with how Madden was handling their licensing or their
This will
video
be in addition to Madden.
Really?
So EA will still be making. It says Electronic Arts Madden NFL series will remain the only simulation football. So 2K may be making an arcade-style football game. Are we getting NFL Blitz?
Probably. I mean, if we get something like that, I would definitely get that. I mean, this is going to be back to the old school days where you had, your sim game versus, your arcade style with the trailing fire off the footballs and crazy tackle techniques.
I remember Red Card. It was a soccer game, and it was all about getting red cards. You go in and you make the dirtiest tackle you can.
Wow.
Somebody.
I loved it. It was great. Best soccer game I played.
That's funny. So I mean, like it said, if we go back here and break it down, it said 47 would be from existing titles, and 46 would be new IPs. So it's basically split in half there. And 26 are supposed to be free to play, which I bet a majority of those free to play will just be whatever mobile games.
I mean, honestly, I'm not too excited about the shelf of games that 2K already has on the list. I mean, they're just games that I never really got into, like BioShock. Borderlands I did. I really like Borderlands. But other than that, the 2K lineup hasn't really been for me for the most part. So I don't know how many titles I'm going to be looking forward to coming out in the next 5 years from 2K, honestly.
Very
for
true.
me, the other one is, for me, it's just that, some of the BioShock, but that's all over, from a while ago. And then, of course, Rockstar being under that. I do like the Rockstar games, and that's about it.
So moving forward with our next topic, Valorant got a full-on release date today, June 2nd, 2020. They released all this information through Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest, which if you haven't seen any of the Summer Games Fest news, you may want to follow the Game Awards on Twitch and YouTube, because that's where all these announcements are being made. and they released a trailer that basically said June 2nd, 2020, the game will be available for everybody. And then they did a 19-minute interview with Jeff Keighley, where some of the topics that they did hit on was June 2nd was always the release date. But the reason they kept saying only summer was just in case that release date had to get shifted at all. They didn't want to say that up front, and then people go, oh, what the hell happened? Is the game not good? Is the game messed up that you had to push it? So they were like, once we know the game is ready for June 2nd, then we'll announce June 2nd, and they knew that it's ready. They also announced that on launch day, we will be getting a new operator. There were plans of 2 new operators, but one isn't ready for launch. And when asked if they can give any info on the operator, they said that players may have a strong feeling about this operator, and the operator may come off a little spicy. Whatever that's supposed to mean. Also,
get your sriracha sauce ready, baby.
Also, as
Ghost
far
peppers
as
being fired out,
the new map that's going to come out, there's one new map coming out, which will bolster the lineup of maps to 4. They kind of gave a slight tease in the trailer they put out today. The trailer was based on the map, and if you look at the set pieces in that map, I think it's also based off the practice map that we have already. So that's another interesting thing.
Oh, you just blew my mind, Tim. You just blew my mind. You're right.
You didn't think about that?
I didn't think about that. Oh my god.
Yep.
Yeah, this little clip, I have it right here. You're right. It does look like the training ground.
Yeah. And then another thing, they were asked about game modes, and they said, yes, we do have a new game mode coming out at launch, but it's not Team Deathmatch, as everyone's been asking them for Team Deathmatch. And they said that when the new game mode launches on June 2nd, they will tell people the game mode is launching as a beta because they're not going to be 100% with it and still may make some changes to it. Which, it's a games of service. A lot of times things get changed anyways within game modes and way operators work and stuff. So I would expect stuff to get changed anyways, even after the full launch. I'm just trying to think of any other thing that was major that they said to Jeff Keighley. I mean, he tried to get info out of them, and they were like, well, can we say that? Are we allowed to say that? What can we say? Oh, one big thing they stated was they didn't expect the game to become as popular as it is, as quick as it is. Basically, they stated that their biggest fear when launching the beta was not enough people would want to get into the beta, and that they would have extremely long wait times in queue that would actually drive people away.
See, I think, well, with them being so frightened, I mean, they chose the best marketing tactic to get people interested in the game. Nowadays, it's all about the influencers on your media platforms, whether it's Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Mixer, and partnering with Twitch in order to do a drop. And it wasn't even a biased drop. So this has nothing to do with, oh, you watch my stream, you pay, you subscribe to me, you give me bits, you are active in chat, you get a key. No, it was random. So anybody had the opportunity of obtaining a beta key after your main influencers got their keys.
Now,
and
not to cut you off, Amazon did that with Crucible for people to get in like 3 hours early. They gave influencers early access beta codes to give out at their own discretion.
And that was the mistake. They gave them codes to give out that now feels rigged. One is feeling rigged versus another one. It's literally a lottery. You watch it, it's one stream, and if you get it, you get it. If not, you haven't gotten it. So when you give codes, you have to A, go to a specific streamer, B, you have to hope that they still have keys available, and C, hope that they're not being biased and just giving it to whoever's paying them the most to, drop it, versus the other way around. Everybody, there was no running out of keys. It's overall however many slots were still available on Valorant, and it would randomly throw it across the different streamers, and it was any streamer. As each person got a new beta key or beta access, they now had drops enabled as long as they chose the category, which is funny because I could have been streaming whatever the hell I wanted as long as Valorant was in my category. You can get drops of me just chatting. You know,
It's quite brilliant of them, really. I mean, to be able to take control of their user base and basically know exactly how many people are playing their game at any given time, knowing that because they limit the drops, so they know at what rate these people that they're going to see new players showing up on their servers, and that allows them to push the server capacity when they know they're going to be getting a more new influx of players. I mean, it gives them all this extra information to be able to use at their discretion that they wouldn't otherwise have with just people just buying the game and just coming on. They get a lot more information through people logging in through Twitch, earning it there, and coming in to play the game. It's really quite the brilliant strategy, really. I like a lot. I think every game in beta can do it.
Right.
free advertisement because as word gets around, hey, I got a beta key, come watch me play,
Right.
or go watch, Shroud play, or go watch somebody else play, and you're getting to see the gameplay, you're hearing them talk about it. Everybody else is active in chat, and they're like, I want to drop, and then they start switching to other people, and the viewer, the amount of streaming material, the amount of video content that's now out there because of how many people are streaming the game, it's undeniably the largest amount of free advertisement.
Because that was like when Apex launched. They didn't tell anybody they were working on Apex Legends. Nobody knew about it except I think it was like a week or so before. They brought a bunch of the top streamers to a secret location or whatever it was, a secret meeting, and said, sign this NDA. We're going to let you play this game that we've got coming out, a free-to-play Battle Royale. And I think it was like an hour or two before the game was going to shadow drop. They let these social influencers like Ninja and others basically say, hey, this new game's coming out. Comes out in an hour. Get it now. And so it's like, whoa. If Ninja knows about this, if Ninja thinks this is cool, then I got to think it's cool, and I got to play it as soon as it comes out. But I don't feel like Apex really hit it hard enough after that initial launch is the issue with it. It's still
a fun game.
It's got its battle pass, and it's on, Season 5 now, and I heard Season 5's got some cool new things. But I don't feel like...
6. I think it's 6.
Maybe it's 6, I don't know. But
yeah.
I don't feel like they're... What's the word I'm looking for? Pushing out the word hard enough themselves and just hoping that on Twitch and YouTube and everybody that's posting stuff about it is getting the word out enough. Because, I didn't know that there was new stuff for Apex until I saw, 5 people posting about it on Twitter. I never saw anything from Apex.
Let me stop you right there. This is for Pinhead Jimmy, who was like, is this pre-recorded? No, we are live. Yes, I do respond to chat here so that I don't have to interrupt at all times while, Tim or Bryan is talking. So, yeah, we are live, and it is not pre-recorded. It will be tomorrow on YouTube. It'll be a video on demand at that point.
So
go ahead, Tim.
So my final thing I wanted to ask you guys, first we'll start with Bryan. Is there anything specific you want to see added, changed, or tweaked within Valorant?
So I know you guys are both big Rainbow Six Siege players, right?
Well,
you guys
he is.
Play a lot.
I
he
are.
is.
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. So John is. So I'm not so under. I get, for me personally, I haven't really played a lot of a game where operators sort of define the meta, and that when new operators are added, it changes how people play, how people group, how they choose a character. So this is my first real game in this sort of situation.
Same.
Where I'm going to be exposed to this new operator coming in and how it's going to affect the game. So I don't know exactly if I have all the right questions in my head to be asking yet, but I'm sure all those questions will appear as soon as I see this first sort of change in the meta shift once this new character lands. So I'm excited to see what happens there.
Right. So to just follow up with that, the changing of the game mechanics and the strategies within it, a lot of games like that would be, one of them is Overwatch. So to healers, there's a counter. To that healer, to a tank, there's a counter. With Rainbow Six, it's the same thing. So going in with a new operator, you have to think, is it going to counter anybody else? So for instance, if you have a wall, you have Sage who puts up the wall. Well, an easy counter to that wall is going to be Jet. And then a secondary counter to that wall is going to be either Omen or Raze, because Raze can use her explosive pack to bounce herself over the wall, and Omen can teleport over. So there's a few counters there. Then you have operators like Sova, Brimstone, Breach. What are their real counters? How are you going to do that? Is there somebody who's going to be able to do something similar to them? I mean, I think that they're individually they can counter each other because they have long range abilities. Brimstone and Breach in particular. So it'll be nice to see what you can do there. In reference to Siege, Siege is way more tactical. I mean, while you still have to strategize in Valorant, I think Siege is a lot more tactical on gameplay and specifically choosing your operators. While right now, Valorant, everybody chooses about, they're going to choose 5 operators out of the ones we have now. So it doesn't leave you too much room for options. In Siege, there's a crap ton. I mean, 60, 70 operators, 60, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's a lot.
Well, Siege has also been around for a while, so it's been able to build up that.
Yeah, and they're going to continue building it, and it's going to port over, because it's just that popular. There you have to, depending on the map, depending on what you're doing, you have to bring like a breaching, hard breaching operator that can destroy reinforced walls that are reinforced with metal. You have soft breaching, which can breach through just any soft wall, any drywall type of thing. You have anti-gadget, so somebody that can detect different gadgets. You have anti-entry, so people that can stop those breach operators from using their gadgets. So there's a lot of back and forth with those operators, and I don't think we're going to be there quite yet with Valorant, like we are with maybe Overwatch, where you have maybe more counters to the 5. Because even when Overwatch started, it didn't have as many operators. Now it did have more than Valorant, but it didn't have that many. So
now we got Overwatch 2 coming out.
Yeah, I just got on to play Overwatch the other day. It was my first time in like a year and a half to play it, and it was I was like, who the hell are all these operators?
Right.
Last new operator that I remember, like, or maybe it was more than a year and a half, was the healing sniper. I forgot her name.
I don't know. I've played Overwatch once at a friend's house. I wouldn't even know.
Yeah, the hamster ball was the last thing I remember is when that thing came out. And I was like, I'm over this shit. I'm done. I'm out. Get me out of here. Fuck. But yeah, so do you normally think then that the general idea of an operator coming in to change the meta of a game, is that generally successful? Do you find that in Rainbow, like with each new edition, it makes the game more complex and more enjoyable to play, or does it feel like it gets too complicated and like non-competitive after a certain point?
No, it will. That game will always be extremely competitive when you're in ranked mode, but it depends on how broken the people feel the operator is when they bring them in. So they brought Oryx in last season, which was somebody now that can jump up through hatches. That's on the defending team. Versus, and that's another thing. The operators defending are completely different than the operators attacking. Versus, a game like Valorant, it's the same operator both sides, the same abilities both sides. So when they brought in Oryx, for instance, they already had Namaru, which was an operator that can rappel through windows and rappel up hatches. So with the addition now of a defensive operator being able to do that, it adds new techniques and strategies to the game, because now you, instead of before, you have 2-story buildings and you have a hatch. And if your objective, so if you're defending a site, a bomb site, and it has a hatch above it, well, you would normally go up and reinforce the hatch so that they can't blow the hatch, shoot you from above, jump in, whatever. Or there were other strategies where you just defend the top floor and you leave the hatch open. But there was no north-south, like vertical play where you can go back up without having to run all the way up the stairs.
Gotcha.
That's the case now, where you have Oryx. While not many people play with him that I've seen, and I definitely suck at him, he could go back and forth easy between the first floor and the second floor through a hatch. So it adds for some stealth tactics, being able to flank around and do things. The new operators are interesting, by the way. I saw York playing them on the TTS server. I just installed it.
Oh, nice. I watched the video breakdown about him. It was pretty interesting. The one where it's like it can put out this like homing device thing where when someone gets closer to the device, it like beeps louder and louder and louder in their ears.
Yeah, so it's supposed to slow them down. It's
Yeah, that's
a
what slows them down.
it's a bulletproof device that gets thrown on walls or floors, and its radius is massive, and she gets 3,
Mhm.
and so I think it's what was her name, Malasu, or I can't remember what the name was, but
Something like that.
of the operator, and it's supposed to kind of slow the attackers down. The radius is massive, so you can literally place in certain maps 3 of them on all sides of your objective, and it's literally covering the entire hallway all the way around the objective.
Holy cow.
So a lot of people are saying it's a little OP at the moment, so that
can
might
see that.
change. I mean, there's already been changes made. So one of them, she had a deployable shield. Now she has C4 or nitro cell. Then the other operator is a hard breaching operator, which
blow 3
has
holes in
some-
a wall with one bomb.
Yeah, exactly. So
Basically, it's like
Bryan, you should definitely
you
get
throw it on the
Steam
wall,
and try it out.
it blows a hole, moves itself down, blows another hole, and can move itself down and blow a third hole.
So
Fair.
our viewers do have I want to tell Bryan that they are following you now.
Oh, hey, thanks for the follows.
So Kristen wants to say, I'm following Bryan, so she's following you. And then apparently Hot Rob wants to ask me what my favorite food of all time. So I'm just going to throw that out there real quick. Japanese food, specifically, I do love sashimi, and it would either be yellowtail or tuna for the sashimi. But I also do like some really good katsudon as well. So that's my preference. That's what I like. But Tim, what overall with Valorant and these changes and the new operator coming in, the new map coming in, which I'm kind of bummed that we're only getting one new map.
Yeah,
especially after playing the beta and just doing these 3 maps over and over and over again.
In the interview that they did today, they didn't even tease if there was going to be another map coming anytime soon. They teased 2 new operators with 1 at launch, but when they said new maps, they were like, "Oh yeah, we've got 1 that you saw in the release trailer briefly." So I'm just like, okay. But here's my question with like Siege and other games that have their seasons. How frequent are those seasons? Like in between, like how long are
about 3 months? It's for Siege. It's 4 a year.
Those 4.
So you get season 1 through 4. It's about a 3-month period, 2.5-month period, something like that. Yeah, so about 3 months, and it's a new map and new operators each season.
So maybe we get that with
correction. Sometimes the new map is actually a rework of an old map.
That's what I was going to ask, because I know the new one has a rework.
Right, and then they might add some new features. So a couple seasons back, they added the ability to ban operators like you would in competitive and actual esports matches. Then they are looking at adding the banning of maps now, where they'll give you a selection of 3 next maps, and then you ban 2, and each team bans 1, and then the remaining map is what you're going to play on for competitive. That's something that they're looking to add.
I know in the breakdown video I watched for the new Siege thing, they said that they've got a new rework of House, and it is not meant for competitive play.
Mm-hmm. There are maps that just won't ever come back to competitive.
Gotcha.
So one thing that they shouldn't do is when they release a new map is put it straight into competitive. They always do that. They release a new map, they throw it straight into competitive. I think that they should throw it into unranked, see how people like it, then throw it into competitive the following season after people know how to play it.
That makes sense.
Because not everybody gets on the TTS server.
Right.
Because you're installing Siege twice. It's a ton. So I install it and then I install it again. But House is awesome. I don't necessarily know. I haven't seen any previews of what they've reworked in it.
They've added more rooms. I can pull it up for you.
Yeah.
Siege House.
So Bryan, you gonna get Siege now?
You guys have to show me the ropes, all right? I'll come tag
Yeah.
along.
I've played a couple rounds, not much.
Me, I suck at the game. It's still fun. I
John
suck
wanted
at
to
the
show
game,
me
though.
around.
It is a fun game though, and it's fun learning the tactics and strategies. The maps are great. You definitely have to learn. So it's funny because we always tell Tim, don't ADS with some of these guns in Valorant. Just don't do it. Just do hip fire. In Siege, it's completely different. You want to ADS. You don't want to hip fire because when you ADS, you're actually your accuracy is completely up. Then when you're hip firing, you're probably not going to kill your shot unless they're like point blank, and even then. So
Really? Oh.
there's leaning left and right. You can lean around corners as well.
I've seen that gameplay. Yeah.
Yeah, there's crouching, proning. I mean, it's a lot different.
Do you consider it a hardcore? Like, I know like Counter-Strike is considered a hardcore shooter, and Valorant under the same sort of lines with the fundamental underlying idea of this is a smaller map. You have to play. Hardcore. Does Rainbow Six fall into that same sort of genre of game, or does it fall somewhere in between like Call of Duty and CS:GO or something, or is it its own separate sort of style game?
I don't know. I want to say it might be its own separate. I don't think it falls in between one or the other. It's not a run and gun. You don't just go run and gun like you do in Call of Duty. Okay. Then again, you can kind of run and gun in CS:GO, but I would say it's on the tactical aspect. It falls more along the lines of CS:GO, because CS:GO is way more tactical than that. But you can't in Siege. You can't just run around jumping. You can't just bunny hop your way around everywhere. That doesn't. You can vault over things, but there's no jumping. You can rappel up and down. You can rappel upside down. You can rappel through windows, jump out windows, jump over railing, jump down hatches. With specific operators, rappel up through windows, like grapple through windows. So you shoot a grappling hook and it zip lines you all the way straight up in through the window.
That's cool.
With, for instance, Valorant, each operator has their own abilities. So that's similar to Overwatch. In CS:GO, everybody has the ability to buy whatever weapons they want, just like in Valorant. But instead of abilities, they have utilities. So flash grenades, Molotovs, or incendiary grenades, decoy grenades, a defuse kit, so that when you go to defuse, like for instance the spike, when you go to disarm the spike, if you have a defuse kit, it essentially in CS:GO, you would be able to defuse the bomb way faster in a fraction of the time. With Siege, on the other hand, it falls along the lines of what Valorant and Overwatch does, where every operator brings something different to the table. So they have, except for you can't buy different guns. Each operator has its own selection of guns based off of, where are these operators from and what guns they normally use there, to the sidearm that you have, the utilities that you have, whether that's barbed wire for defensive, which slows down your enemy when they're walking through it.
Barbed wire, that's cool.
Deployable shields for defensive, where you can sit behind it and they're bulletproof. And now they have little slits through that, so you can see through the shield through these little slits, and they can see you. Then on the attack side, you have smoke grenades for some. Some don't have smoke grenades, some do. Some have flash grenades instead. And with that, it also adds new strategy. Maybe the way you're trying to play the game is you want to smoke off where you want to plant, and you want to smoke it off long enough, but then you also have maybe a glass, and glass can see through smoke. With this scope, well, you would bring more operators that have smoke versus operators that don't, which can change your attack strategy as well.
Gotcha.
So, seeing how this topic became a Rainbow Six Siege topic instead of Valorant, to wrap it all up for John, I got the info on the house rework. So it says the rework version of the map house has undergone drastic changes. Additionally, the map is only available in quick match playlist. With this rework, not only has some of the existing areas been made bigger, an entirely new section on the south side has been added, with 2 rooms on each floor and a staircase to connect them. With the new space, players have more space to move and breathe. The additional space also introduces a new bomb sight in TV room and music room.
Okay.
The garage has also been revamped, with only one of its doors being destructible and a new barricade being added to give a different access option, while still making a diffuser plant harder. Secondly, what was once workshop is now a finished girls' room with an attached walk-in closet. Thirdly, lines of sight have been reduced on the north side of the building, with the main door being blocked off and the shuttered window replaced with a hallway. The living room and training bomb site have been removed in favor of a master bedroom and a boys' room. Most floors are now breakable, making vertical play more valuable, such as hatches. Some hatches have been added and some have been removed.
Okay. So it's like they finished the remodel that was going on,
That's
the
what I was
renovations
gonna
that were
say.
going on in house, because house is, had this whole upstairs room that was being renovated, and so it's like the family that owned house finally got money and finished all the renovations and said, "Here, now you can attack it and blow it up now."
Because that's how they made it seem in the breakdown video I watched, where it was like, hey, we finally finished the renovations. That's why it's house rework or revamped or whatever you're going to call it. But should be interesting. I mean, I got Siege. I don't play Siege that much, if ever. I got it when it was on sale for like $10.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the
Siege
cool
is
thing
definitely
about
a fun
games
game,
like
though.
Siege. They're not free to play games by any means, but because they've been around so long, they put them on sale for hella cheap. A lot. So that's
Like
a cool
every
thing.
month.
And that's a cool thing that they do. And I think that's a Ubisoft thing, because Division 2 gets put on sale all the time, and that's Ubisoft as well.
No, it's because
Have
that
you played
game
the Division, Bryan?
sucks. That game sucks.
Division 2?
Oh god, yeah, I played it. Me and my buddy were so looking forward to it, man. We are so looking forward to it after the first one, and we played it for like 3 weeks, and we like never came back. We got the Ultimate Editions, and I was like, well, that was a waste of $100 freaking
Yeah,
dollars right there.
I didn't get the
Jesus
Ultimate Edition.
Christ.
I got it for like heck
Wow.
cheap. I enjoyed it, but not as much as the first one.
That's
I
what
think
I've
a lot
heard,
of people were like, "It's not New York," and I think that's the thing that just like
DC.
broke it for them. It's like it's not a massive city like New York,
Well,
so it just
it's
doesn't
DC.
feel.
It's DC, but the latest DLC brings you to New York, I believe.
Does it Gangs of New York or whatever it's called?
Division 2 DLC. Let's see. It is Warlords of New York.
Or Warlords.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with that, I think that's going to wrap everything up here. I want to thank Bryan for joining us on this edition of the Weebo and Director Show.
Thanks for having me, Tim. And
Not a
John.
problem. You can come back anytime. Really enjoyed your
Appreciate
company here. You had a lot of good insights. Trust me, I've done podcasts with special guests and extra people, and they're just like, oh, that sounds cool.
They're just like a prop.
They're just like you feel like they tell you they can talk and they can give insight, and then when it comes time to actually do it, they go, oh, yeah, cool. So with you knew what you were talking about. You contributed to all the conversations, so it worked very well.
Yeah,
Okay.
next time we might throw you on a beach somewhere, or up in the mountains.
Send me a
We'll
pina
find
colada
a
while you're at
perfect
it.
location for that green screen here. Maybe up
So
in
with
the
that,
space station.
where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch at BCrowdy or on Twitter at CrowdByCrowd. YouTube coming soon, so stay tuned.
Awesome.
Woo!
John, where can they find you?
Content soon on YouTube.
John?
So for me, it's gonna be the Director 47, and that'll be for Twitter and Twitch. You can also find me at Cyber Lowdown on Twitter, and that's for anybody interested in information security, cybersecurity related stuff.
And then as far as me, you can find me basically everywhere at Timmy Buddy. You can also find me on YouTube with my Pro Wrestling Unlimited channel. Find that on Twitter at PW Unlimited. And you can find us right here every Thursday night on the Weebo and Director Show Twitch, twitch.tv/Weebo and Director Show. If you miss it live, don't worry, it goes up on Fridays on our YouTube, youtube.com/The Weebo and Director Show. So, hey, if you miss it live, you can always go back and watch it on demand.
Correction, it's the Weebo Director Show.
Okay.
So it's just like it's just like our Twitch. It's the Weebo Director.
Gotcha.
So it has the and show at the end. So the Weebo Director Show, no and in between.
Okay, gotcha. So you can find it there. The video also stays up on demand, I think, for like 14 days on Twitch as well. So with that, thank you guys for joining us here. If you're watching live, if you're watching later, we appreciate all the support that you guys have given us since we've brought the podcast back over the last, 4 weeks has it been?
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that, again, thanks, Bryan, for joining us. You're welcome to come back and be with us anytime you want. And have a good night, folks. Or a good day whenever you're listening to this.
Good night.